Hey, this is Dan from Binaural Recording Sights and Sound. This week's video, I got some more talking to do about some of my equipment items. This week we're going to be talking about the sound dish. This parabolic dish here allows me to collect far distance audio, and it has been helpful in various situations to be able to collect that audio, especially like in panel recordings and stuff. So today I'm going to kind of take you through a talk through of what all of this is and what I kind of did do to put all of this together here. It's not like a tutorial or anything like that. It's just more of my way to adapt this stuff together in its own self-contained package that I have here. So the base of this here is actually the Soundshark, which is from a place called Klover microphones, and they specialize in parabolic dishes. This is their 9-inch variant, which is one of their smallest inch variants that they have. I think they have 16 and 26, I think it is. Maybe it's 22, I can't remember. But they have those different sizes that are able to collect audio from different ranges. This one has a spec range of around 30 feet, but I've been able to capture usable audio from maybe 50 feet plus. It just kind of falls off a little bit further there. The lavalier microphone that it came with was this weird looking like lapel mic from Countryman Microphones, I think it was. And it's actually specifically designed for this dish, but the XLR cable connection on that thing is like massive. It is a pretty big connection. And at the time when I got all of this together here, I didn't have a second Zoom F3 field recorder, so this one actually is equipped with a Zoom F2 field recorder Bluetooth edition. Overall, it's a pretty small, compact package. You could probably operate it without this battery on the bottom, but I just find that having the battery there keeps me a little bit more sure that it's going to keep recording for long periods of time, especially when you're idling a lot, which you tend to do with panel recordings. And it's easier to kind of keep one solid audio line channel than it is to keep hitting record and stop. Then you have to continue to try to figure out how to resynchronize that. So that makes it a little bit easier. The only thing I wish that this Bluetooth receiver could do would be like to actually do time coding. I think it does some sort of thing, but that it only can be used with a specific blue thing. I can't remember what the heck it was called. But that is able to keep the accurate time recording. That maybe you would be able to do something like that if you had that ability to use that device. But overall, let's go ahead and take a walkthrough of the entire device. We kind of already introduced the dish itself from soundsharkaudio.com, made by a company of Klover microphones. These are made in America, or at least this one says it's made in America. This is kind of the backbone of the whole device that we have here. Originally, this is actually designed to be put on top of a camera. So you would have your camera and then you place this dish on top of it. It's kind of heavy for that and a little unwieldy. So I kind of feel like that a wireless lavalier mic might be better in most situations like that. This kind of has a very specific targeted situation that you really would want to use it in. Now, I've heard of people using it for like recording in classrooms and stuff during the pandemic. They were using some of these. They would be able to put this microphone device back in the very back where the camera and the laptop was to be able to collect that sound from a far distance. So that's the dish. The next thing we'll be talking about is the lapel mic that's inside of here. So this lapel mic is from, it is one of their lavalier microphones. I'll put it up on the screen of which one it is, but it's pretty nice. It, in my opinion, beats out the actual microphone that's designed for this thing just because of its form factor. The plug on this microphone actually has this little headphone kind of jack thing to it. which makes it a little bit easier to work with, especially on this small device. So with that, you can actually make this device very tiny if you didn't put the battery on the bottom of it. So hooking that into there, it has a locking collar, so it locks right onto the Zoom F2 there, and then it works fairly well. You just have to adjust the sound and audio. It is a 32-bit float recording system, so it works really well for that, and that you don't have to mess with the dial and dial in the audio. You just mess with it in post-processing. Files are a little bit bigger, but nothing too bad. I have it wrapped around the actual edge there of this device, and then I've used one of these like Velcro ties to hold the cable together, just because the cable that it comes with is like 3.5 feet long or something like that, and you only need maybe like 6 inches to go from the top to the bottom there, so you don't really need anything like that. On this, I actually have this Anker power core battery on the bottom. It's capable of giving like slow trickle juice, which is like a specialty thing of it, because the Zoom F2 Bluetooth recorder doesn't really draw too much power, and on many power banks, after a period of time, they shut off because they believe that it's not using any electricity, so it stops its circuitry. So you needed something special like this power core device that actually has a setting that you can switch it over to trickle charging for like earbuds and stuff, in order for it to be able to give enough power to keep this thing running. And I've tried other batteries in the past, like even ones that were smaller that would fit on this rig a little bit better, but due to that issue of the batteries falling asleep because the device isn't pulling that much, I found that using this singular battery here is better than most of the other battery types. So if you're going to be using this with an external battery, you have to make sure you be careful what kind of battery you have, and that it's able to do like trickle charging on it. Inside of the battery case, I actually have rechargeable batteries and loops, Panasonic's. So I do have those as more the primary, kind of the backup, because this is designed to be the primary on the bottom here, and then if it does run out or sleeps, or I forget to switch it over, or it comes unplugged, we still got audio recording. So I have it hooked onto this metal bracket, which is from Camavate, I think. Yeah, Camavate, which is a company. This is like an actual side handle for just a general camera. It's actually designed for a camera, but it holds this dish fairly well because this does have a 1/4-20 on the bottom of it as well, which allows me to hold on to it pretty nicely. It has all these little cheese holes on it, so you can like hook other things up to it. So if you really wanted to have other things protruding off of it, like cages, lights, anything like that, you can actually do that. In this case, though, I have one of these mounting hooks here for my spider belt, so actually I can holster this whole dish on my hip, and it works pretty well. Another thing that I have on here is one of those Peak Design phone clamp things for my phone, because I have the case that fits and actually locks to it. If you wanted to, you could probably put a different type of camera on in there. I find that the best type of camera to have with the parabolic dish is something that can zoom. So a GoPro, while it would be nice, it doesn't have the ability to zoom, so when you're pointing it at stuff, it's kind of hard to tell what you're pointing it at. Whereas if you had something that is capable of zooming, you can actually digitally zoom into it or mechanically zoom, depending on what type of camera you have. So that is why I typically use my phone with this, because my phone has digital zooming controls that I'm able to actually use and get a good shot of the thing that I'm looking at. So using this all together allows you to get really distant sound. I've used it in many different videos, so you can kind of see some of those other videos for examples. One of them was we heard squirrels on one of the trail hikes that I did. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the Wind Cave, where we actually used this dish and got some pretty good sound with that. I used it in the fireworks video, used it in many other different types of videos just to kind of see where I can find its application. But where I found that this thing really excels at is panel recording. So if you've ever gone to a panel or something like that and you've wanted to record, some of the things that I find frustrating when I'm watching panel recordings on YouTube is not being able to hear when they do the questions and answers part with the people in the crowd. Many times, most of these people recording these videos for the panels only have the panelists being recorded, and they don't have any other camera that's able to look into the crowd so you can at least lip sync or like see their lips and what they're kind of saying or wording out. So that leads you to like turn it way up and try to hear what they're saying, and then only to get blasted out when the speaker goes back and talking to it again. So to find some way to balance that out, I've used this parabolic dish to collect that audio of the audience. Now, in order to do that, you do have to sit at the front of the room, and it is a little awkward that you have to like point backwards at people when you're doing your recording, but overall the end product is actually pretty nice because you can actually hear what they say, and with your zoom camera on there you can actually see what they're saying too. So it adds that extra depth and that extra care to the whole product, and it can really make a panel that you record very personal, and actually you can actually see and hear what everyone is saying. So it's not like you're sitting there turning the volume and trying to figure it out and becoming frustrated after watching for 20 minutes. This actually makes it watchable the whole way through. It does take a lot more time to edit, that's for sure, because you have to synchronize across multiple different cameras, but the end product is actually pretty unique. I don't know why more people don't use parabolic dishes. For some reason, they're not very common, and they're also very expensive. Like this dish here, if you were to buy it new, is like almost $500, I believe. I got mine on eBay for like $190. It came with the set and the microphone and the bag and all the other stuff, but I don't even use most of that other stuff. I just want the plastic dish. But even just finding a plastic dish like this is kind of rare. You can find like little cheap ones on Amazon, but they're not really parabolic dishes. It's just more of a reflector with a microphone in the middle of it. They don't really mathematically do what a parabolic dish does. This parabolic dish is actually a special, unique shape which allows sound that goes into the front of it to direct and point directly at the small microphone that's mounted in the middle. Makes it a very directional microphone, so when you're like pointing it around, you actually get only what is directly in front and not anything that's off axis, because things off axis will bounce right around the microphone instead of directly into it, due to the geometry and the math of the actual dish that you have here. So that's kind of the unique parts of a parabolic reflective dish that you have here that makes it better than many other types of microphones. You can kind of get away with a shotgun microphone. I mean, a shotgun microphone and this microphone are probably interchangeable from one another. You might get better audio quality from the shotgun microphone in certain situations. But this thing just has the ability to be unique, to be able to pull sound from far distances. It's very good in dynamic environments, especially like panel recording, where you might have other people talking or things like that in the background, and you can really isolate who you're pointing this directly at. So it being very directional is almost like you're zooming in on the person that you're wanting to see and hear from directly, which makes it much better than most other microphones. It sure beats the heck out of running around the room with a microphone to every single person to try to hear what they're saying. But yeah, that's a little bit of this microphone set that I have here. So everything all together, it's probably, I don't know, maybe a couple $100 to be able to put all this together, to make it handheld and small like this. The Zoom Bluetooth, I don't know how much that runs for nowadays, and the battery pack I think was, I got it on sale, $20 on Anchor Days, which they're having like a special sale. The microphone itself is actually kind of expensive. I think that's almost like $180 for that thing, but it's very nice quality. It resists moisture. it sounds pretty dang good compared to other microphones you could put in there. Like, I originally tried this with the microphone that came with the Zoom BT, and it sounded really hollow and kind of very bad. So I replaced it and put this one in there, and now it sounds pretty nice. Other than that, that is the Parabolic dish. Sorry for not having a really good video put together this week. I haven't really been feeling the best. I've gotten sick from somebody at work, I believe. That's a little bit about what's going on with me. We're going to try to get some more videos out to you guys. I have a vacation coming up here in the next couple weeks or so where we might be going to Niagara Falls, but we'll see what happens with that and if we're able to get things in order to be able to go do that. But that would be really cool, some videos for us to go collect, is to go get some audio sights and sounds of a large waterfall. One of, like, I think it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. I can't remember if it is or not, but Niagara Falls is pretty cool. Anyway, that's the video that I have for you guys this week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know it's not the best content, but I'm trying to get things together here. It has been really hot outside recently, and it's difficult for me to do a lot of outdoor videos. And with all the other things I'm doing in life, to kind of makes it a little difficult to get up and do things, you know, extra in addition to the things I'm already doing. But that's a little bit about me and about my technology and devices. See you guys next week for another video from Binaural Recording Sights and Sound. Please like and subscribe. My name's Dan, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you.